Yes, everybody, hello, good morning. It is Sunday, happy Sunday morning, the day after Manchester United climb back into the top half of the table after that glorious win against Chelsea yesterday. We're going to dissect it. Yes, you can hear a sarcastic tone in my voice. I am buzzing with the win, as you've seen on my match vlog after the game yesterday. It was horrific at Old Trafford yesterday. The rain, wow, how we didn't get leaky roof syndrome again there at Old Trafford, I don't know yesterday, but that was relentless yesterday. Went out dry, and we can properly, after having a good night's sleep, actually dissect what happened in the game yesterday. RUBEN coming out and being brutally honest after the game as well, I think, which is going to go down well with a lot of Manchester United fans. We'll talk about that this morning. We'll talk about individual players' performances, the Casemiro, the Bruno Fernandes situation. We're also going to get your thoughts on what's happening with Carlos Baleba as well. So interesting little transfer section today as well regarding Casemiro and Carlos Baleba from what happened yesterday in Brighton's game with Spurs. That later on. Obviously, first of all, let's get into what happened with Manchester United yesterday and what RUBEN said. And the warning to the rest of the Manchester United team, really, in a lot of what he said after the game. There was a lot of emotion again there yesterday. It was big. It was massive for RUBEN, of course. Massive for the players, the fans. Everybody needed that, I think, yesterday. And it's just kind of calmed things down a little bit. But we cannot walk away from Old Trafford feeling like everything is hunky-dory. And what we witnessed yesterday was proof that everything is all right around Manchester United. RUBEN's system is working. RUBEN has got everybody on board. It just wasn't the case. And I'm going to be brutally honest and just say it as it is. And I said this in the match vlog yesterday. So I want to get your thoughts in the live chat this morning on how you seen it yesterday. Because obviously it was a mad rush yesterday. Nobody was getting any sort of content out because of the weather. The weather was absolutely horrendous yesterday. And it was like a mad dash to the car just to try and get out of there. It was literally like a lake around Old Trafford yesterday. You could boat it in to the stadium. It was that bad. But look, the main thing, obviously, from the top of the show, let's start with that, is the 3 points. RUBEN being very clear after the game. He was impressed with the start to Manchester United's game yesterday, as I think everybody was. It was intense, it was direct, it was in the face of Chelsea. We didn't give them a chance to settle. We really had them rattled early doors yesterday. The red card did change the game. So, straight away, I'll just start off with what I said yesterday. I mean, my thoughts initially yesterday were the first 30 minutes, 37 minutes-ish when we were playing against 10 men, Manchester United did exactly what Manchester United should do. We did dominate the game. We were pressing. We were winning the ball back high. We scored the 2 goals, which basically won us that game in that spell. And we needed to score when we was on top. So, first of all, United scored first. United scored 2. And they gave themselves some breathing room in the game against Chelsea with 10 men. That, I think, was the most important thing yesterday. When you're looking at results, you're looking at how the game finished. That spell was massive for United. That spell was big for RUBEN. He got what he wanted out of the team. The problem I had with this is, it's how come Manchester United could not keep that intensity up? How can we not be fitter than a Chelsea side that are playing multiple games? We had a full week to prepare, and we played the majority of that game, I feel, well, more than half of that game, with the injury time that was added on, against 10 men of Chelsea. And we still, at the end of the game, we're struggling. And we were absolutely dead on our feet. Are we just not fit enough? Is that why we weren't able to see the game out yesterday? That, I think, is the biggest concern for me out of all with everything yesterday. But RUBEN saying, look, and I think RUBEN, and we go off the manager. I backed the manager yesterday. I talked about him firing back in the press conference. This is a man that fully believes that his job is safe and he's got the board behind him. The result helped him yesterday. But the words that came out of RUBEN's mouth yesterday, I think, are what resonate with me more than anything. It's like, even when things are going so well, we still make it difficult for ourselves. And he isn't fully happy with the performance. So if I'm not fully happy with the performance, and RUBEN's not fully happy with the performance, at least we know that we're all together in this, and we can still see there is masses of room for improvement for this football team under RUBEN. They're still not quite getting it. They are getting it in parts, though, and there are definite RUBEN elements in his style of play in United's game this season. We've been some really good, like, for instance, like the game against Arsenal. Perfect example of RUBEN ball there, working in the way the system he wants to work. The first 20, 30 minutes against Fulham, the Chelsea game yesterday, again, these performances, I feel, our proof in this first 5 or 6 games of the season that Ruben has got his lock into and his claws into Manchester United a little bit. But even he coming out yesterday and saying he's still not fully happy with it, I think it makes me feel better in a way. It makes me feel even more happy that we got the result yesterday and that the manager wants more out of the team, because I want more out of that team. I do want to see more from Manchester United. I want to see us sustain a full 90 minutes. If we'd have continued playing the way we did in that first 30 minutes, and there's no reason why we shouldn't with the amount of time off we've had and rest and changes within the squad, let's not forget we did change it up a little bit as well yesterday in that starting lineup. So I'm not, and I wanted to make that clear from the start. I said the same thing yesterday. The 3 points, the results, gives you time to start improving. You just have to grind results out sometimes. And United did. I listened to analysis. I listened to what Danny Murphy and Wayne Rooney said on Match of the Day afterwards. I've listened to some of the pundits on TV as well. I've checked a few other people's opinions out. Some people are getting way carried away with where we're at and everything like that, just because of one result. I wasn't insanely impressed with Manchester United, but I get how people can look at it a few different ways. Danny Murphy saying they didn't go chasing the game. They just used the 2-goal lead and were calm with it. And that's probably a sign that Manchester United are learning that it cannot just be one way. Maybe there was a little bit of adaptation yesterday, and you could look at it that way. And that's a fair point. I take that on. I think that is a fair point to bring into it. The worrying signs is the mentality for me and how deep we dropped in that game. How can Manchester United not go and still express themselves in that second half in an attacking sense? Why can we not kill the game off, get the third goal? A 2-goal lead, yes, it's okay. It's not the safest scoreline in the world to be defending, though. And defending that deep in them conditions where anything can happen, a ball over the top, a slip, lack of concentration, that doesn't sit comfortable with me on that. And how United just shrunk away in that game yesterday and allowed Chelsea to dominate, and they did, because the possession stats show and the amount of attempts show in that game yesterday. Although, one big plus point for Manchester United is we never really, I don't think, felt under pressure from Chelsea too much. Like, the possession was there, but Chelsea didn't have any go about them in that second half. Bayndare had one shot to save. It went in. But that was from a cross from United was sleeping from a short corner. Other than that, defensively, we kind of dealt with Chelsea. And I've been more worried about a Chelsea fan than I am a United fan this morning as well. I need to make that point clear, because I made a good point yesterday and I thought, and I'm going to get your opinions on this first of all, because I want to get right into the chat this morning and give you your chance to have your say, because we didn't do anything last night because we got back late with all the traffic and getting back. By the way, we will be doing the watch along later for the City and the Arsenal game. Then we're going to be live on FUTV, and then we're going to do the call-in on Big Up after that. Well, we didn't do it last night, so we're going to do it tomorrow instead. Today instead, at the day after anyway. I said it yesterday. This is the point I came away with. Manchester United, first 5 games of the season, we've played 3 of the top 4 teams from last season, Chelsea, City and Arsenal. We are 10th. We are a point ahead of Manchester City. They will lose to Arsenal today. I'm convinced of that. So 5 games in, if you'd have told me that we're in the top half of the table, we're ahead of Manchester City, we're a point behind Chelsea, and we're only 2 points off the top 4 after 5 games, I probably would have said to you, I'm taking that now. And everything that we look at, all of the carnage and all of the chaos around Manchester United, the player unrest, the issues, the derby, that performance again, when you look at everything as a whole and we're entering into October, if we're still in around that mark, and I'm not saying that this is perfect, and I'm not saying this is the turning point for Manchester United, far from it, but if you are in that ballpark area around the top half of the table, you're in single points, or just a few points off the European places, which we are, and we're only 2 points off top 4 at the moment after 5 games. That, I think, is exactly where I would want Manchester United to be in terms of Ruben Amorim keeping his job and not being completely cut adrift. Like, you can see there is hope there with just a few points. If United can continue, like I've said, and the most important thing, and I'll finish on this for this opening section now, and then I'll get into the comment section. I said this as well at the start of the season. If United win their home games, just win your home games, you're in Europe. It's as simple as that. you will pick up the odd point here and there. So if you can win your 19 games, I know it's impossible to win every single one, but aim to win all of them home games. Pick up majority of points there. Make Old Trafford a fortress again. Very, very unlucky that we are not right up there in the top 4 right now, because we could have easily beaten Arsenal on that opening day. And we can forget about the Fulham, the Grimsby and the Manchester City games in between, kind of, because we'd be on 9 points if we'd have beaten Arsenal, which we should have done on that opening day. And we'd be in the top 4 right now. And nobody is even talking about Ruben Amorim or where Manchester United are. That's how important wins are. And that's what United don't do. So my point is, yes, let's accept that United are not horrendous and we're not cut adrift yet. But let's remember that it can easily spiral out of control and go the other way. So the mentality of winning games has to come back into this side. And you know what? In a way, even with me criticising the lack of what I thought was get up and go in the second half and actually going to try and kill a game off and win a game and how hard it is to win a game, I still have to accept defeat in my opinion and what I was saying yesterday after looking back and say, well, we battled out a win still. We got the win. And that's what we're saying here in this, because if Manchester United had got wins in them other games when we should have, like when we're leading against Fulham, holding that, like when we should have beat Arsenal because we battered them on the opening day, still beaten Grimsby because they're a poor side, you're only looking at the Manchester derby then. And anything can happen in a derby and it can just go and spiral out of control. All of a sudden the season changes. All of a sudden Manchester United could have been right up there. But I'm not forgetting also at the same time that United actually could have gone the other way. So mentality of winning is huge for United, and we got the win yesterday. And that's what's big. That's what's massive for Manchester United. But, like I said, and this is where I'm going to come into the comments now, how confident are you? Now we go to Brentford. Brentford battered by Fulham yesterday. We go to Brentford, and this is the worrying game, isn't it? Can we back up that cup final performance style? Because that's what was being talked about yesterday. Can we back that up and beat Brentford? Let's get into the chat and get your thoughts on it. I've got lots to talk about this morning on what happened yesterday, but I want to gauge what everyone else was at. I missed everyone's comments yesterday because of everything that was happening at Old Trafford. So let's get this in now. Gear says the team play very well in the first half and it was enough to win. I don't agree. The red card changed the game. United dominated before the red. Come on, mate. It was 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes of the game. You can't say United dominated. The red card changed the game. Even Ruben Amorim said that because they brought off Neto. They have to bring Cole Palmer off. You know what I mean? They have to bring every single attacking player that they had on the pitch off the pitch. So it did change the game because they had no bite. So, yeah, come on. I get what you're saying. The red card for Sanchez changed the game completely, though. You cannot say that didn't. I get the confidence and the positive mentality there. Look, United set off well, and they deserved the red card. They deserved the red card because they pushed Chelsea into that position. Brilliant little flick on from Sesko, by the way. Brilliant little flick on. And I feel like his link-up was sacrificed a little bit in the second half yesterday. I was gutted that he came off. I really was. Aggression smashed the blue out of there, says Ant with the super chat. It was aggressive yesterday in that first half. Second half, we had a bit of a fight and a scrap, and the game turned scrapper. Maybe the conditions didn't help, and we do have to accept that is going to play a big part as well in this game. The Prem was all over the game yesterday with the Casa red card and the added time. The added time, like, where did that come from, by the way? So you could easily look at the refereeing performance yesterday was appalling, by the way. It really was. I had a big issue with the referee yesterday. But, I'm with Ruben as well on this. Again, and Ruben actually looking at what happened in that game exactly the same way as we were all looking at it. That gives me hope. I'm not listening to a manager telling us one thing than what we watched. Something completely different than what we watched. And trying to convince us that this happened when it didn't. Ruben tells it as it is, and he says what we see as well. So everybody can get on board a little bit more with Ruben. Look, there's doubters and people are not going to be fully convinced by it. I get that. But still, Ruben, I thought, yesterday, was saying everything that we were saying. That was good. Because on the red card with Casemiro, he is disappointed. He should have known better. He should have known better. Because we got the win, I'll forget about it a little bit, is what Ruben said yesterday. But Casemiro was devastated with what he did. He knew he made a mistake. He had an absolute numpty of a referee who lost control of that game and was out of his depth. I agree, like, the red card was the red card. It was simple. But what about Cucurella? What about that lunge, feet off the floor, studs up on Mazraoui? What about that decision? What about controlling the game and looking at Casemiro's second yellow and going, was that really aggressive enough to give a yellow card? Yes, he puts his hands on him and he went from behind and he wrapped his foot around, won the ball. Like, is that an actual red card? It's like he couldn't wait to give the red card. Then they added on time. Where the hell did that come from? Especially the second half, the 7 minutes. Like, seriously, this man played 16 minutes extra time yesterday in that melee. Like, there wasn't 9 and 7 minutes. There was not 16 minutes extra time in that game. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And he was out of his depth. But Casemiro needs to know better. And Ruben pulling him on that is brilliant for me. Another tick in Ruben's box yesterday in terms of how he's seen that game going down. Look, we can all talk about what we're actually seeing on the game, and we've got to blame Ruben from the start for certain things because he puts the team out there, but at least he's actually noticing and realising what's happening out there as well. He's not trying to pull the wool over our eyes on this one. There has been a lack of fitness since Fergie retired, Adam. Yep. Fitness, guys. Get into the comment section on that. We'll come back into that. Cheers for that, Ginge buddy. Ken says that why is even a good win vocally turned into a moaning and groaning session? Is it? Are we making points here that we need to improve on certain things? Sounds to me, Ken, like you're the moaning and groaning one, because we're all happy in here, mate, that we've got the win. And Manchester United showed the mentality of winning games, like I said. Or, Ken, are you having a go at somebody else in the chat there, mate? I'm not sure, buddy, because it doesn't say anything on it. If it was me, I'm sure you would have put Adam on there, so I'll let you off with that one, Ken, lad. They're using on the cake, what was that? It was, the icing typo there from Lee. The icing on the cake was that the Argentine rap. Oh, the song for Garnacho, by the way. I'm not going to repeat it because of the language in it, but whoever made that song up for Garnacho, thank you. It is an absolute doozy of a song. That was the best bit about yesterday's game. And people going on to Garnacho's heat map and his performance, full highlight reels in HD of Garnacho's warm-up against Manchester United. Is that just beating Chelsea and then seeing Garnacho sat on the bench. That was glorious yesterday. And do you know what? You're not going to take that away from me. I don't care. I'm having that one. I guess their keeper and manager for his subsequent substitutions are strong candidates for our man of the match. But a big shout out to Mbumo, De Ligt, and Mr. Consistency Mazraoui, all immense. And Dorgu as well, I would say, Steve. But I love De Ligt. I've been banging De Ligt's drum forever since he arrived at United. And I'll admit, I was one of the doubters about him coming in. His injury record, he has been exemplary. He really has. That man is a leader. And I'm not surprised that... I am surprised that Ruben dropped Yoro. I wasn't happy about that. I was not happy about that. I didn't think Luke Shaw warranted to be on that pitch ahead of Lenny Yoro yesterday. But he went with full experience at the back. And you know what? It kind of paid off in the end because we dug in and we got the result. But we were kind of expecting with that lineup to be backs against the wall at one stage, is all I'll say. That's the only nagging point I've got with that. With him picking that defence there, it was like there wasn't really going to be much progression. But De Ligt pushing forward into midfield, finally, someone actually understanding, and a professional at Manchester United understanding what Ruben wants. Because that's how the system's supposed to work. The overloaded midfield should not be there because one of the centre-backs needs to push forward. De Ligt was in the opposite half of the pitch the majority of that first half yesterday. And in the first few minutes, he was on the right wing, linking up with Mazraoui. So that, I thought, again, was another little glimmer of hope for Manchester United, that players are recognising their roles, triggers, and where they need to be in this system. And it wasn't full-on 3-4-3 yesterday constantly all the time. Of course, we went down to 10 men, so it couldn't be. It's the ultimate comeback for me there on that one, I know. But still, I do think that system was showing promise yesterday. But De Ligt, like the comment says, immense on that one. Paul says, can't please some. Win people moan, lose we moan. We know we're not ready to challenge for the top 4. But enjoy the win yesterday. Our keeper didn't have a save to make, so surely it's not that bad. No, it really isn't that bad. And like I said, that's the point I wanted to make. When you're judging team seasons so far, Kaz just sent me a message there saying, never doubted De Ligt. He's brilliant. He really is. So, looking at it, like, you opening 5 games of the season for Manchester United, like City, Arsenal, Chelsea, like them games there, you could say, difficult for Manchester United, even Fulham away to a certain degree. There was only one banker for me, and that was Burnley at home. Can everyone agree on that? One banker. That was Burnley at home. Everything else could have gone either way, completely either way. There was no easy games, and there isn't an easy game in the Premier League. We've seen that already. But to be a point ahead of Manchester City, they'll lose to Arsenal today. I'm convinced of that. Going into the 6th game of the season, going away to Brentford and then at home to Sunderland, a point ahead of Manchester City, 1 behind Chelsea, by the way. And Chelsea are being talked about, the world champions, and all of that, and challenging. Like, Chelsea and Manchester City have aspirations of being in the top 4 this season. Manchester United are sandwiched in between both of them after 5 games. So why should we not have aspirations? Like, it shows you what can happen if you win games and you don't buckle. Now, obviously, the straight comeback from that, if you want to look at it on the negative side, is Adam, we scored the first goal and that's when United pick up their points. Can we actually see United come from behind and not mentally melt on the pitch like we've seen them do? Because every time we've gone behind in a game this season, we've lost it. Every time we've scored the first goal in a game this season, we've picked up points. They're facts. They're there. So there is a little something to pick up on that. And that's definitely a mentality problem for Manchester United that we do need to work on. But again, look, it isn't that bad when you look at the table. And Ruben's point on this, and I'm going to move into more comments now, right at the start of his career at Manchester United, you need to win games to earn yourself time to be successful at this football club. You need to win games to earn yourself time to change things, to make that evolution that he was talking about in the press conference on Friday, the embargo version that came out on Saturday. And all of that, he needs time there. He hopes he's got time there to change things and get it into him. But if you win games, it changes the mentality. And what we need to see this season is, with all of that bomb squad left and all of the negativity gone from Manchester United, how winning games under Ruben Amorim with this squad, and like he said, the mentality of the players and then players being able to handle the adversity better, we need to see how they adapt and how they actually move forward for Manchester United now. It's like rubbish saying I better work with my hardest then because I don't want to be the ones getting sold soon. Sorry, mate. It's like, rubbish saying I better work my hardest then because I don't want to be the ones getting sold soon. I might be talking to someone else in there. I might have jumped in on something. I'm just picking comments out randomly. Ruben is making some better noises. I think Jim has put an arm around him, says Dara. Could say that. I mean, it's all right talking a good game, but we need to see the walking as well. Like, proof is in the pudding and the eating will be the result at the end of the day. And again, I still believe that Man United don't win that game if Chelsea have a full team on the pitch. The red card impacted it. Red cards are part of football. Manchester United earned that red card because we went direct and we've got a 6'6" striker who won a ball, flicked it onto another player who anticipated the flick on. We got the red card. So what? Yes, that's what you could say and argue with the point that I'm making. I'm worried about what might have been, but why am I talking about what might have been when we've won the game? It's like I said, there's negatives and positives in every single game and every performance. And that's the thing. We're looking for that complete performance to convince us, I think, half of the time. But are we looking at it and trying to find it in a league where you're probably not going to get it because everyone is going to come up against really difficult sides? The football is changing in the Premier League. It is. I sound like I'm overly confident at the moment. I'm not. I am still worried, and I don't think we will beat Brentford on Saturday. I don't. But again, I'm wanting to see what this team could do. I'm waiting for them to win a few games so I can properly judge them. I can't at the moment. And the issue that I have got is that we haven't got any European games in between to really build on this. Now we've got to sit on this for a week. I don't like it. I think United are better with more games. I don't care what Ruben says. I think games in between these in Europe within the week would definitely help Manchester United out. Ahmad Port again could have given Sesko his first goal, but kicks the ball away. He needs to improve quickly. Ahmad was a bit hit and miss yesterday, I will say that. Again, I think he's finding his feet and doesn't know where he's supposed to be playing with this. But he is better in the 10, I'll definitely say that. 100% better in the 10. Joseph says, I was satisfied with the 3 points, but not happy with the performance because Chelsea controlled the second half of the game. Chelsea controlled the second half of the game because maybe United sat back, and obviously Chelsea with level playing field and 10 men. Yeah, that was concerning. And my biggest concern yesterday, and I said it in the vlog, was that the lack of intent for Manchester United going forward. That was mine. And why did we sit so deep? It's like we invited the pressure on, knowing that it was going to come before it had even materialised. It's like we brought that on. Michelle says, "Thank you, Adam. I went on one channel last night. And they said top 4 is on. Top 4. When you look at the table, let's be clear about this. Manchester United should aim for the top 4, and then you'll probably make top 6. That should be your target in your head. That's what we were talking about yesterday. And it just goes to show. And again, it comes back to the point I made at the start. The mentality of winning. Get that mentality of winning games. And then time will come where you can actually adapt, work on things, believe in yourself more. Because if you're losing and you're constantly losing, or you win a game and you lose a couple, you're never going to be convinced by this system. You're never going to be convinced by Ruben Amorim. It's just natural. And that's talking from a player's side of things. You're going to be looking at that, and the players are going to be thinking that. But look, I think Manchester United, and I said at the start of the season, United should be going for top 4. You all know my opinion on it. Do I think that we can do? No, I don't. I think I said 5th was that. But I'm saying, in this league this season, everybody can beat everybody. And look where Chelsea are, look where City are at the start. Manchester United don't have as many games to play. There is no excuse for United not to push higher. It's if they can go that extra yard, I feel. No European football, no fixture pile-up, no excuse. That's what I keep saying. This team can beat anybody like Chelsea on the day and turn every single weekend into a cup final performance. That's the mentality that we need. The Bainday was talking yesterday about how up the players were for that game. They celebrated it like it was a cup final. It's so hard because we never get any run-of-the-mill wins anymore. It's always a tight win. We either win by a close margin or we get battered. It's just the way that it is for United. I want to see a nice 3-0 win, a comfortable win or something for United in a game. And I thought that's what it was going to be yesterday. And I got excited for it because we were in complete control. And I was thinking we were going to wipe out that Man City goal difference in one game straight after we conceded it. And I thought, that's brilliant. That's a great statement to make there. And then we just went into our shells because Casemiro got sent off. And we weren't protecting mode again. And that's the sort of mentality that I worry about going forward. Flash has given his lineup for the Brentford game already. Lamens, Delate, Maguire, Yoro, and Mazraoui, Mainu, Bruno, Dorgu, and Bumo, Mount, Cunha. So you're dropping Sesko for that game then. I think Sesko's getting an unfair bad rap at the moment. I really do. I'm not saying that you are, Flash, there. You might just be thinking of the best team to take on Brentford next weekend. But again, like I think I'm still going to keep playing Sesko. I think he needs to learn how to play with Cunha and Mbumo. I do. And Mbumo's brilliant, by the way. He really is. Like that guy just gives you a guaranteed 7 out of 10 every single week. We have been craving players like that. Players that can just do the job. Simple. Let's get a few more in. Chelsea took off their 2 real threats in the first half. They didn't have much opportunities until we got the sending off, but then it was already too late for them. Chelsea isn't easy to beat. I'm happy with the win. Yep, look, we just beaten a team that finished in the top 4 last season. Look, Manchester United should be happy with that. The fans should be happy, and everyone is. Everyone is happy with that. But the fact that we're talking about we need more is a good thing. It's a very good thing, because we're not sat on this celebrating the win like we've turned a corner here. We can see room for improvement, and that's what I want to make the positive about. We're not talking about this not being the perfect performance because we're downbeat. We're excited because we got the win. We're buzzing because we're moving back up into the top half of the table, and we can forget about that City derby now. But we know that we can get miles better and need to get miles better. So I think there's a realism within the fan base and the reaction to that game yesterday. Wins breed confidence. Wins keep you afloat and keep everything moving in the right direction. And it keeps the doubters away. Now, when you're losing games, the same way that we probably won the game yesterday, for instance, if we'd have played like that and lost the game yesterday, then everybody's talking about the system and what's happening, and RUBEN AMORIM, the players not being on board with it. But the players dug in and fought for him yesterday, and that's a positive to take away from it. Can we do that every week? No, we can't. We cannot do that every week. But that was a big game, awkward conditions. It just had the feeling about just feeling of a strange game yesterday. And the fact that we come away with the 3 points from it, I'm just happy about that, because it just keeps, when you're looking at the league table, then you're not looking backwards, you're looking up at who you can catch rather than who you're going to fall behind. Because there was a chance this weekend, if United didn't beat Chelsea and Villa won today, we'd be in the relegation zone today. And can you imagine the headlines? Instead, we're halfway back up the table from that point, and we're looking up at the top 4 instead of the relegation zone. That's how big a win at this stage of the season is. Just stay relevant, and we're doing just enough at the moment, just enough. So it could have been a lot worse. That's all we're saying. Glenn with the super chat says, sort of slightly worrying start that the last time we won a game where there was not either a sending off or a penalty was in March against Leicester. Thanks for that, mate. Just filled me with confidence to get look. But penalties and red cards are part of football, aren't they? So let's talk about it that way. Yeah? Look, don't get carried away. We have got room to do, but it could have been worse. That's the best way I can summarise the whole game yesterday, really. Imagine De Ligt and Leacher together as well. Well, you got Leacher coming back. Cunha looked awful when he came on the pitch. I don't think he's fit enough, and I think he's lied about his medical report or whatever. Mount and Cunha to coming back and get fit again is a massive plus for United. Leacher coming back as another option at the back, another aggressive player that RUBEN will definitely bring into the side. I guarantee it, because all he talks about is aggression and us being aggressive in both boxes, like we've seen through the week in his press conferences. So I can see Leacher walking straight back into the side eventually. I don't know who is going to come out. I just hope he doesn't make a stupid decision, because the defenders right now are probably our best players on the pitch. We have a poll running. Let's see what the votes say on this one. Overall, were you happy with the performance yesterday? 67% of you have said yes. 33% said no. So there is still a big chunk that are unimpressed with what's happened yesterday. I can get it. You can look at the game yesterday as half full or half empty easily. But whenever there's 3 points, it will always be a half full. I don't care what anybody says. It has to be. You have to be half full if you get 3 points. And there's no harm in looking at what could have been better yesterday either. It's just easier to talk about what could have been worked on better when you get 3 points. So that's, like I said, that mentality of winning and knowing that you can grind out a win. And even when things are not going right and everything is against you, or it seems like it's against you in what's happened in the season, you can grind out a result like that, then that's a big, big positive. Right. Let's get a few more comments in quickly. I am very happy with the win, but be elated that they have to show. But to be elated, they have to show this to be a turning point and not another false dawn. Yep, Steve pretty much summed it all up there as well. Can we go out and beat Brentford? Can we make it back-to-back wins? That's the hardest bit with this team, isn't it? It's knowing that we can go out again this weekend and go to a ground where we have not got a good record at all and get the win. That, I think, that's the worrying part of it. And if we do, then I think a lot of this fan base all of a sudden will go, okay, now I can actually get behind this team. I can actually think that Ruben's getting into this team. And there is a mentality shift. All it's going to take is that win. Like, just get the win against Brentford. Then United should be going out with confidence then and beating Sunderland. And then from these 4 games, Man United have taken 9 points. And we are comfortably in the European places. This is what's in front of us now. Tough couple of weeks. We lose to City badly. We grind out a result against Chelsea. All we need to do, Manchester United, and I say all, and it's no easy task, I know this, but if you were to say to me, Adam, you're going into games 6 and 7 of the season before the second international break, and if you beat Brentford and Sunderland, you are going to be comfortably in the European places, potentially in the top 4, if you win both of them games. I'm snatching your hand off at that. That's the position that we've now earned ourselves. But no one's convinced. No one's still convinced because you're worried about Brentford. You are. I think we'll lose the game. I've always said this. I was right in the result yesterday, wasn't I, by the way? I said we'll beat Chelsea because we have to. We'll beat them by 2-1. And I got it completely right. And I still think that United will probably lose to Brentford and then beat Sunderland. And we go into the international break on a, if, and just a maybe. Instead of going in like, boom, yes, 3 wins in a row. And everybody's happy going into that Liverpool game after the international break. But we'll see. We'll see. See if I'm right, see if I'm wrong. I still support him. I'm not expecting much is all I'm saying on it, though. But, hey, look, I seen a ground-out result yesterday. And, obviously, a very, very good win for Manchester United. Let's see. Let's see how we adapt from this and let's see if we can move forward. By the way, no FT this morning, so no football talk, no paper round this morning. We're doing the watch along later. Obviously, we're going to be busy later on, so we're moving the content into the afternoon and concentrating on that. So you got a morning off this morning on football talks, no paper round, everybody. It's watch along central later on. I will let you know if we're going to do the Bournemouth and Newcastle watch along. This is all depending on the weather and our game with Winton this afternoon being on. So I'll keep you updated here on FUTV and Football Talks. So if you haven't already subscribed to Football Talks, please jump across and get onto there, please, everybody, as well, because we will be doing watch-alongs later. There is a FUTV live show later on this afternoon as well, and there is a fan calling on Big Up later on where we'll be discussing the whole weekend pretty much, because it's been a barnstormer, hasn't it? Anyway, I wanted to move on to some other news as well. Manchester United deciding that they are definitely not going to allow Kobbie Mainoo to leave in January. This report coming from Football Insider and a couple of other websites and journalists talking about this after the game yesterday. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo, again, is 4th choice midfielder. I think that's been made very, very clear now. With Casemiro, Bruno, Agate all being ahead of him. And he might sneak into the team because Casemiro's suspended. I think he'll play Agate and Bruno in the game against Brentford, and it worries me. If he went with Kobbie Mainoo in that game, I'd feel a little bit more confident, but he's not playing him. So you'd automatically think that going into the January transfer window, this is going to push Kobbie away. It's going to be another international break where Kobbie's not selected, so there's 2 down in your opportunities to impress Thomas Tuchel. He's going to have missed both of them because he's not playing games at United. He's going to keep on pushing. And this is the balance of what Ruben's got to try and bring into this team right now. Without these games, can you bring Kobbie Mainoo in? Can you make him believe that he is part of this team going into when you're going to need him in December when the fixtures start piling up? That, I think, is a fine balancing act. And with United's stance on this, not allowing Kobbie to leave in January, I could see why Kobbie would want to push that loan move again, though. And I think the only thing, again, on this, where Kobbie really doesn't have a leg to stand on, is if United continue to win games. So this is why Brentford and Sunderland become vital for Manchester United and Ruben and the club's stance with Kobbie Mainoo at the moment. He has to do more to get in this side. We're all looking at Manuel Ugarte completely shit the bed every time he comes on. And again, was not impressed with him yesterday. He's just an absolute loose cannon of a player. And Ruben persisting with him is really worrying me right now. But if he wins games, he gets away with it. If he doesn't, the Kobbie story starts to come up and be talked about even more. only if United can get these results and get over the line in games does this story drop away. And this is my concern about it. Also, on the transfer side of things as well, did you see the comments from Fabian Herzler after the Brighton game against Spurs yesterday? Carlos Baleba hauled off at half-time again. All of a sudden, you look back at the summer and Manchester United not going over the top in convincing Brighton to release Carlos Baleba and sell him to Manchester United. It's looking more and more like a good position that United took on this right now. We wanted him. It was said, no, we're not going to go and overspend on Carlos Baleba, though. And this season, I'm starting to worry that he isn't the right player. And I can see why Manchester United might be looking at Elliot Anderson. And don't get me wrong, I still think Carlos Baleba, like Romano said back in the summer, is up there. But if he continues to stink the place out like he is doing, his performance yesterday was appalling. The highlights reels will show you that. The fact that Fabian Herzler is having to bring him off and not play him in games tells you, and that's a bit of a worrying sign for me, that he's not actually the right mentality that we need right now. And the fact that United didn't go out and spend 100 million on a player, and then the first 5 games of the season for Brighton, he's done this. Can you imagine if United had bought him and he struggled like he's struggling now, after all of the hype about him, in a United shirt? We could have been going down the same road as where we've been before in transfer windows. And I think Manchester United may revisit this and go, in terms of transfers, if we are going to do anything, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at a player there. You can look at all the data analysis all you want and you can stick that up your ass, to be honest. I'm looking at that. Has he got the head for it? And he has been thrown and thrust into the limelight with what happened in the summer. His head was turned and now his game has gone to crap. And it has gone to crap. He was awful yesterday again. And if you are being brought off at half-time because you was at fault for the goal, I think the Richarlison goal for Spurs, then it's worrying for me that United are even going back in. At this point, the only positive you can take from Carlos Baleba is his price is plummeting. And maybe United take him and try and rejuvenate that player again at a cheaper price. At the moment, I'm not paying 50 million quid for him from his performances this season. I'm just going off this season. But yeah, you can say he's had 2 decent seasons before that, and that player could come back, but that's with no pressure on him. That's a player there that has been playing at Brighton, who came in from nowhere from Lille, from their academy, and he didn't have any pressure on him at all. He just had the freedom to play. And now, one mention of Manchester United, Carlos Baleba has gone to pot, and his game's completely left him. He's making decisions that are not there. Like, you have to watch what he played like yesterday. That's a worry for me. And I'm actually looking at him now as a different type of player. And don't get me wrong, I'm not giving up on him. But that's worrying. 5 games, not at it at all. And all because of that link to Manchester United. And Herzler has said this. He said he has been affected by the noises of Manchester United potentially going there. And Brighton haven't had a good start to the season either. This is something else that we need to remember here as well. So at the moment, I'm not paying 50 million for him. I don't want a player like that in my side. If I'm looking at this season's performances and a bit of adversity and he's not been happy about something and this affects him that much, then no. At the moment, I mean, I'm looking at an Elliot Anderson as a type of player, and that might be better. But let's see. Let's see how this goes. We won't get Wharton. He prefers Liverpool. People talk about who else we would get. ATKO Anderson needs to be bought before his price rockets. He shows to receive when marked and can deal with press. He is physically, technically, and mentally elite. He moves the ball simply and destroys attacks. He is press resistant, that guy. He really is. I know what people are saying about that. Wharton is the one I'd be looking to buy. We need ball players who knows how to keep possession. Again, like, is his eyes set on Liverpool, though? That's the thing, isn't it? Can we get the right midfielder? Can the right midfielder be brought into a RUBEN AMORIM'S system? It's given us a little bit of time. Rather than going in on them last few weeks of the window, maybe United deserve a bit of praise for just walking away from it and resetting. Look, we all know what we need in this team. We all know that Manchester United haven't got the best midfielders to work with RUBEN Amorim. That's why we've talked about RUBEN adjusting his team and maybe putting more midfielders in there, because we haven't got the best midfielders. And so that's our movement. But what it has done is just give us that bit of breathing space to look at, maybe we don't buy that player. Maybe we're not going to waste that much money again, not make the same mistakes like we've made before in the window. And all of a sudden, United have actually got some spare money. See where we finish come December when the January window hits and what we might need. And we will be able to go into the window properly and pick the right type of midfielder, instead of being stuck with someone that we've blown next year's budget on because he's completely fallen off because of the pressure. The pressure of Manchester United is affecting him at Brighton. What will he be like with the pressure of Manchester United at Manchester United? That's the concern. I want to make this very clear as well right now. I still think Carlos Baleba is an unbelievable player, and I want Manchester United to be interested in him. I want us to be looking at this, though, and going, okay, we are definitely not going to bid what Brighton wanted or what they thought they were going to get come the summer transfer window. And this is only around January. If we go through January and don't buy him, and then he turns out to have a great season past that, then good and well. Let's go and see what we can get him for. It'll be a tough one to get hold of, and his price might go back up again. But it just worries me. And I'm just like watching him now and going, right, okay, let's see how he adapts to this pressure. Let's see if he can turn it around. Because if he turns it around, then Brighton have got a massive price tag waiting there. We know that. Do you take the risk and going for him in January playing like this is the question, really, isn't it? Because you're going to get him cheaper. Should we be looking at the player's price tag rather than his mentality? I say no. I would rather pay over the odds for a player that has proved it again, that he can turn his season around and he is an absolute baller. What I'm saying is, I would rather pay 100 million for Baleba in the summer because he's proved to me all season that he is an absolute baller, than spend 40 million on him in January after the half a poor season he's got, which has made his price tag drop that far. I don't care. I want the right player, and you have to pay the right price for the player. But you've got to make sure that you're getting the player, if you know what I mean by that. So it sounds like a crazy one. And why would you pay 60 million more when you can get him for 40? Well, I've seen worrying traits and signs from what he's done this season. That's why. I'm not fully convinced yet. I'm not. There are better options than Anderson and Baleba in France. Bubadabi and Hugo Rakibo from Lille, Casemiro, and a more technically and physically complete midfielders. Not Prem proven, which I think is where United to go. I'm not saying that that is wrong and we shouldn't be looking elsewhere, but again, I think Manchester United actually do want Prem proven players in their side now. I think that's been proven with Mbumo and how different we look up front with him playing compared to what we had last season. So, yeah. Please give the video a like, by the way, everybody. We're keeping up to that 300 like mark. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button as well. Don't forget, throughout the weekend, we've got our Match Bingo offer going on all games, everybody. So the QR code on your screen, if you scan that and download the app, we are running the FUTV promo code. So in the promo code section on Match Bingo, if you put in FUTV, all capitals, you will get the 200% booster on your deposit, giving you a better chance to make winnings on every game in the Premier League this weekend still. Bournemouth and Newcastle, Arsenal against City, up to 250 quid to win in each of them games. £2 a card. So if you put promo code FUTV in now, then you will get even more chance to buy more tickets and therefore more chance to win games. Gamble aware, please, everybody. Make sure that you're UK resident and you are over 18. Right. A few more comments in. Where the hell did that show go this morning? Wow. Love that. That means we're having fun and it means everybody's happy. I think Baleba is a United player. A big wage incoming, poor performances to drop the price. He will come out and say, I only want United. Also, Kukurea should have gone. Do you want a player that's down in tools right now to come to your club? I don't like that. Am I the only one who thinks with Baleba? Like if he's been told to play crap, I can't see that. I really can't see that in a professional footballer. I'd give up on the game if he was told to play crap and get the price down so we could buy you cheaper. I don't want that player. I'm just going to say that now. I don't want a player with that mentality in my team. I don't care if he wants and loves Manchester United. If he's willing to down tools at his club to come to United and stink the place out, keep him away. Forget it. I'm done with that type of player. That worries me if that is the case. I don't think it is. Who's actually talking about Bruno being sold from Newcastle? Like, who actually thinks that Man United can get Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle? That's never going to happen in a million years, people. Let's leave that one and put that to bed. It would be it'd be a dream signing for United, and I'd take him now above everybody else who we're talking about. But it's never going to happen, so I'm not even going to bring it up. Lots of comments on different players that people would bring in right now. I love the fact that this has opened up the debate on the Carlos Baleba and the midfielder situation. Brighton were winning. Baleba gone off. The game ended 2-2. No, Brighton were winning. Baleba had a big part in the goal, which brought it back to 2-1. And then he went off. And then they ended up losing. And we can't judge games on that. Hertzler is a very, very good manager. And if he's bringing a player off, he's bringing him off for a reason. That's the worry for me. And that's what I don't like. I think Baleba, by the way, will turn the season around. And I think he'll be worth what everyone was talking about. If he does it in the next couple of months, maybe United go in January. But I do believe United have got their eyes set on other targets right now. There was stories of Manchester United going for Valverde doing the rounds yesterday. Yes, please. Every single day. But again, I just don't see it happening. That would be an absolute dream signing again. But not happening. Not happening. I had to laugh that one off. I would love that to be the case, but it isn't. I'm just going to say that now. It isn't. Anyway, that pretty much is our show today, everybody. Good to get that out and give everyone a thought on what happened yesterday. Please, I've got time this morning while I'm out and about doing my bits to have a look at some comments. So come into the comment section after the live is finished, please, everybody. And make sure that you do get your thoughts across, add a bit of context to them as well. Talk about the performance from United, the midfield targets, everything we spoke about this morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. I've loved that debate. It's been an absolute ball and a pleasure. And so good to actually be talking positive about Manchester United after a match day. Now we can sit back this Sunday, watch Arsenal beat Man City, and us finish on top this weekend of Manchester City going into next week's games as well. That would be the perfect way to finish what has been a pretty decent weekend compared to last weekend already. But for now, that's it. Cheers, mods. Fantastic job again in the live chat for organising everything. Thanks for the super chats, new subscribers. Please hit the subscribe button again if you haven't already. Make sure you give the video a like on the way out if you're enjoying the content. Both free and help the channel out massively. Thank you, and I will see you all later on this afternoon. Football talks, watch-alongs. I'll keep you posted. Definitely City Arsenal.